and welcome back to the Week 8 edition of the John Carroll Football Preview Show. And joining us now, the starting quarterback for your John Carroll Blue Streaks, Joe Collins. Joe, thanks for taking the time to be with us this week.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So we're just going to get started. A little bit of background on yourself. So you're from Grand Rapids, Michigan. You played for Grand Rapids Catholic Central, had a lot of success with them. What ultimately made you decide to come to John Carroll University?
So I actually never wanted to play college football, and then I was just going to go to Michigan State, be a normal student, and then we lost in the semis my senior year in overtime. Coming out of that game, I just really didn't want to be done playing football, so I got started on the whole recruiting thing kind of late. And then Joe Enns, who was a senior here my freshman year, went to my high school too, so I knew he was here, so reached out to him. Coaches reached out to me, came on a visit, stayed with him, and I loved it here, so that's how that worked out.
Yeah, so it sounds like that competitive fire and even some of that Blue Streak brotherhood that's really preached early and often, even before you became a John Carroll Blue Streak.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Joe was a huge part of getting me here. Just having somebody here that I already knew and coming and staying with him on my overnight was a big deal. Being able to see, especially a great guy like him, I mean, really successful dude now, so that was a big deal for me in the decision-making process.
Well, that's awesome to hear, and certainly glad that you have become a member of the Blue and Gold for sure. And it really has been an interesting college journey for you. So you ended up spending your first 3 seasons as the backup. Jake Floria, a lot of success here with John Carroll, was signed by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers of the CFL, was there for a short time, and you ended up not attempting a pass the last 2 seasons. How has your mindset changed over the course of your collegiate career?
I mean, as the backup, you just have to learn. I mean, it's tough, but you have to learn to prepare like you're the starter because, I mean, football, it's a physical game. People get hurt. You never know what's going to happen. So just the last 3 years, it was all about watching Jake, learning from Jake, and always being ready to come in and play if the team ever needed me to. And Jake, we were fortunate to not have to deal with injuries with Jake. So, I mean, I didn't have to play a whole lot, obviously, because of that. So that's really it, just preparing like you're the starter every week and always being ready to go if your team needs you.
And then that always being ready mindset now translating into this season, and it certainly has translated well so far. And then just touching back on real quick, you were talking about you being in the same quarterback room with Jake for a while. What is your relationship like with Jake Floria?
I'm really close to him. I mean, he's a great guy. He was one of the first guys to take me under his wing when I got here. I still remember the summer before my freshman year, he had all the freshman quarterbacks stay at his house over the summer. We did a little camp with him, watched some film, went out and worked out and just hung out with him. So that was another thing that was huge for me because I got to come to camp as a freshman already knowing Jake and already knowing the other freshman quarterbacks. So that was a big deal for me being able to come in and already be comfortable with those guys. He was just awesome the whole time. I mean, always supportive of me, always looked out for me. He's reached out to me this year too, wishing me luck. And so I love Jake and have a lot of respect for him.
Well, that's great to hear those strong bonds being forged, not just on the football field, but also off the football field too. It's not just the game that you're playing, but you guys are friends and teammates as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it really fun. I mean, I love playing football, love the game, but what's really fun is doing it with your boys. I mean, like in the middle of the winter when at 6 a.m. there's snow on the field and we have to go out and run in it. You're with your boys. That's stuff you remember, and that's what really makes playing college football special.
Absolutely so, and it sounds like it certainly has treated you well so far. John Carroll quarterback Joe Collins is our guest on the Week 8 edition of the John Carroll Football Preview Show. Now we're going to just talk a little bit more about this season, you specifically. You have had one of the most accurate passing seasons in program history so far. You've completed over 68% of your passes through 7 games this season. You did have 3 interceptions in week 1. It was your first start at the collegiate level since your senior year of high school, I believe. Since then, that first game, you've thrown 1 interception. So how have you been able to bounce back from that opening week performance?
It really is. A lot of it's just falling back on your teammates, trusting your teammates. I mean, I can't do what I do if the other 10 guys on the field don't do what they do. So after that week 1 performance, I mean, like, we all still trusted each other, just got back to doing what we know how to do. And then once we had that experience under our belt, we were still able to come out against Baldwin Wallace confident, and we believed in each other. Week 1 didn't matter to us. So that's really what it is. Just I trust everybody. I'm confident in myself. I'm confident in my teammates, and that's really all it took.
And that confidence, not just in yourself, but in your teammates, it really showed last week against Capital. You ended up throwing for a career-high 342 yards, and you tied a career high with 4 passing touchdowns, no turnovers, and you only had 5 incompletions. So what was working well for you this past Saturday?
Well, it starts up front. I mean, I haven't been sore after a game in 6 weeks because I'm barely getting touched. I mean, I think I've gotten sacked maybe one time in the last 6 games, which is unbelievable. I mean, that makes my job so much easier when you're back there and you don't have to worry about getting hit. And then, I mean, receivers are getting open. Few against Capital, both those touchdowns, ran great routes, run after the catch. Makes my stats look a lot better than they really are in reality. And all the other guys too. I mean, Joey, Tyler, Tadas, like all those guys. Evan's done a great job too. Demarius. Everybody's just doing a great job of doing their job, and everybody trusts one another, and everybody's doing their part.
So offense, certainly a well-oiled machine, all facets, one team working together, really doing a great job again over these last 6 games, 6 consecutive victories, and a dominant victory over Capital this past Saturday. So now looking at this week, you are facing Muskingum on the road. What will Team 100 need to do to earn its 7th consecutive victory?
We just got to focus on the present. Muskie's a good team. They're always a good team. So we got to do a good job of just focusing in on this week, prepare the way we've prepared for each of our last 6 games, just treat it like any other week, because obviously people are going to start to look past this week, and we, as a team, we can't do that. We have to focus on the present and take care of business this week.
And certainly a great mindset to have. It is 1 week at a time in a 10-game season, so next task at hand is Muskingum at Muskingum. So now we're going to transition off of the football field. We have been talking plenty of the gridiron action and all of that good stuff. So here at John Carroll, you are currently a senior. You're pursuing a degree in finance. Do you have any plans in mind for after college?
To be honest with you, I have no idea. As far as finance goes, I have no idea what I want to do, if I want to go into it, if I want to coach. So I have a lot of stuff I got to figure out after the season, but it's hard for me to look past anything this season right now. I mean, a lot of the focus is on the football season, current classes, so I just have a hard time personally looking forward to stuff like that. So I've got a lot of stuff to figure out for sure once this season's over.
Yeah, and I mean, there is still plenty of season left and still plenty of time left during the school year. Still, really want to savor those last few months as a student before getting into the professional world. So for sure, there's definitely still time for that. Absolutely. And what do you enjoy doing when you're not on the football field?
Just hanging out with the guys. Really. I live with 8 guys at our house, so there's always guys there hanging out, play a lot of video games with them, get competitive doing that. That's a lot of fun. Like on weekends after games, getting together with all the guys. We got a really tight team, especially the senior group. I'll be talking to those guys the rest of my life. So that's really what I enjoy the most about being here, is being around the guys that I've built relationships with since I've been here.
And that's awesome to hear. It's not just a game of football, because that ultimately comes to an end, but hearing that those bonds are remaining strong, those certainly can last a lifetime, and that's great that you've been getting along with your teammates so well. So now we're going to transition into our final segment of the interview. I do want to thank you once again, Joe, for taking the time to sit down with us. It's just a couple of favorites just so Blue Streak Nation can know their starting quarterback a bit better. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, awesome. Favorite food?
Steak.
I've heard that a lot, even in the course of last season too, even some of this year as well. So got to be some kind of steak dinner at some point for the team, I'm certainly hoping.
I got to work with the budget, but whenever I can, I try my best.
All righty. Favorite show?
Favorite show? I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but Peaky Blinders on Netflix is probably the best one I've watched.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Shawshank Redemption.
Favorite music artist?
Ooh, it's another tough one. Go Kenny Chesney. Go country.
Is that also maybe something for the pregame hype, or do we go a little bit different for that then?
No, pregame hype, I'm mostly rap. But if I'm just chilling, it's a good chance Kenny Chesney's going to be playing.
Gotcha. So depends on the mood. All good. Gotcha. And finally, your favorite all-time football player?
Matthew Stafford. I'm a Lions fan. Grew up in Michigan my whole life. Diehard Lions fan. So always loved Matthew Stafford. Big Rams fan last year.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know that was probably difficult when he made the move to Los Angeles, but sounds like you're still on the Matthew Stafford train.
Still am, always will be.
Alrighty, and he certainly has had a lot of success in the league, so I'm taking it that's probably a quarterback you've maybe tried to model your game after at least somewhat?
Honestly, not too much. I don't think I really model myself after anybody. I've just developed over time with the coaches I've had, and I feel like I've just turned into my own player, really. Matthew Stafford's a lot more talented than I am, so it'd be hard for me to do a lot of the things he does. So I just try to be myself out there, and doesn't take away from the fact that I love watching him and other guys play.
And that's definitely an awesome mindset. And I do have to say, Joe Collins has been doing a tremendous job manning the troops for John Carroll at quarterback this season. So, Joe, that's just about all the time we have for this week's interview, and best of luck against Muskingum.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. That was Blue Streak's quarterback Joe Collins on the Week 8 edition of the John Carroll Football Preview Show. And coming up, a bit of a preview of today's matchup between your D3Football.com 25th ranked John Carroll Blue Streaks and the Muskingum Fighting Muskies, right here on your home for the Blue Streaks, WJCU 88.7.